Welcome back to The Ambassadors. I'm thrilled to dive into today's topic with you. Let's get right into it.
Today, let's talk about a leadership quality that is so easy to overlook in our constant rush for quick results. And that quality is patience. We're going to see how it's not just about waiting around, but it's actually a powerful, strategic tool for building real trust and getting to that long-term win. So, let me ask you something. When you think about a truly great leader, what comes to mind? Vision, right? Charisma, being decisive. And yeah, all of those are absolutely crucial. But what if the most powerful strength of all is the one we talk about the least? And this right here, this gets to the heart of it. Leadership, especially when you're helping people grow, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not just trying to get to the finish line yourself. You're guiding a whole group of people, and everyone's moving at their own speed. Trying to rush that, it doesn't work. It just leads to burnout, frustration, and a lot of mistakes. We might think of impatience as just a minor flaw, but it's so much more damaging than that. It's the direct cause of those rash decisions, those snap judgments we make under pressure. It creates conflict that never needed to happen. And over time, all of that just chips away at the one thing a leader cannot survive without: trust. Okay, so if impatience is the big danger, what's the antidote? Well, our source material points us to a really powerful principle, and it breaks down patient leadership into 3 key hallmarks. Let's dig into what those are. It all comes back to this piece of ancient wisdom. And look, it might sound old-fashioned, but it is a shockingly practical 3-part framework for leading today. Be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Let's unpack what each of those really means in practice. So here's that framework. First, be swift to hear. This isn't just about being quiet while someone else talks. It's about active, empathetic listening. Then, be slow to speak. This is all about pausing, resisting that gut reaction, and choosing your words with care. And finally, be slow to wrath. This is the real heavy lifting, emotional self-control, especially when things get heated. And when you put those 3 commands together, you get this, a really solid definition of patient leadership. It's about putting empathy first, making it your mission to understand where someone is coming from before you try to make your own point. And it's about responding with wisdom, not just impulse. All right, so theory is great, but where have we seen this play out for real? Our source gives us this incredible case study of a leader who had to live out this kind of patience under, well, some of the most intense pressure imaginable. And that leader, it's Moses. His story is basically a masterclass in how to lead a very difficult group of people through decades of total uncertainty. I mean, the challenges he was up against were just staggering. And just look at what he was dealing with. This wasn't some project running late or a tough quarter. We're talking about constant complaints from the people he was trying to save, open rebellion against his leadership. And all the while, he had to hold on to this long-term promise that for years and years showed no sign of actually coming true. So how does this tie back? Well, think about it. In the face of all that negativity, Moses was swift to hear their complaints, and then he was slow to speak and slow to wrath, choosing to advocate for them, to intercede for them, instead of just lashing out. He stayed the course, guiding them, even with all their flaws, because he trusted in a timeline that was completely out of his hands. That is patience under fire. So we've got the principle and we've got the proof, but what's the actual payoff here? Why is this kind of self-control so critical for a leader to succeed? It really comes down to 2 very different paths, doesn't it? On one side, you've got impatience, and that road leads to hasty judgments, broken trust, and conflict. But the other path, the path of patience, leads to thoughtful decisions, strong credibility, real growth, and unity. The difference in where you end up is just massive. And that is the bottom line. Patience isn't weakness. It's not passive. It's a profound strength. It's the kind of self-control and commitment that earns deep, lasting respect. It makes people want to follow you because they trust your character and they trust your judgment. Okay, so this brings us to the most important part of our conversation. We've talked about the what and the why. Now let's get really practical. How can you and I actually start putting patient leadership into practice, like today? So let's look at a clear action plan. A few simple steps to help you put this whole principle into practice, starting right now. All right, here we go. First, just reflect. Take an honest look at how you react when things get delayed or when people make mistakes. Second, in your very next conversation today, make it a goal to listen more than you speak. Third, when someone on your team messes up, see it as a chance to mentor, not to reprimand. And finally, just focus on being that calm, steady, understanding presence in the room. So I'll leave you with this challenge. Just think about the rest of your day. All the meetings, the phone calls, the conversations you'll have with your family. Pick one. In which one of those moments will you intentionally practice being slow to speak and truly swift to hear? Because that marathon of leadership, well, it's one patient moment at a time.
Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and comment. Your host, God7, David F. Wafulu.